Hi
Cool.
guys, welcome. So today I have with me Mr. Jon Richardson, and Jon has been a Blam partner for, well, how long is it now, Jon? How long has it been?
Is since March, so what's that? That's what, 8 months?
Yeah, eight months now. And Jon's kindly agreed to spend a bit of time with today, talking a little bit about his journey so far as an entrepreneur, because I think it's absolutely fascinating that Jon actually joined the Blam Partnership. He took that brave step of becoming an entrepreneur only a few days before the dreaded lockdown occurred, before we were spiraled into that that strange place that we all went to that none of us expected. So Jon, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you taking the time. And it'd be great actually if we could just if you just want to perhaps introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you did before you became the business owner that you are today.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Um, where do I start? So I've been in sales for probably about 20 years, but always in big ticket sales. So I never really dealt with anything less than six figures. So always selling really big, complex pieces of technology from communication software through to HR systems. Um, my last position was selling software to the cruise industry, which was a really cool job. Got me traveling all around the world. So California, Florida, all around the Med. Yeah, really good, really lovely job. Really proven that. But I got made redundant last year. It was last year, in because for no fault of my own, I was doing pretty well, but we got brought by a venture capitalist company, and they literally stripped the guts out of the company. And to that, so at that point, I was 46, and I just thought, you know what, I can't be doing with this. Being made redundant just before Christmas, and I need to take ownership. And I'd wanted to be self-employed. I wanted to work for myself for 10 plus years. But the thing that stopped me, other than that big salary, was everything. My skill set, or what I saw as my skill set, was in big ticket sales, and my deals would take anywhere from 6 to 36 months to come to come to fruition, and that I just couldn't support myself for that long. So yeah, that's kind of me and my background, and up until sort of February, March this year, really.
Yeah, and what's the one of the interesting things? Obviously, we would have met when you first started looking around for opportunities. So right at the beginning of this year. And what attracted you to marketing? Because that's not anything that you've kind of dealt with in the past, is it?
No, other than the normal exposure to marketing that sales teams have, I've never really marketing. I never really valued it, if I'm honest. And when I got made redundant, and I started looking around for what I could do. I looked at a number of franchises, and I was, because my background was very much related to travel. I I was I was very close to signing on the dotted line with a travel franchise, um, which would have been not my best move. Um, and But at that point, I stumbled across a couple of companies that were franchising web development or website sales and what have you. And to be honest, Blam wasn't in the mix at that point. Um, I made decisions to go down that way and mobile app route, and I found a a company that I thought would be a good fit. And as I do with everything, I just thought, you know what, I just have a little look around again, and I found you guys, spoke to Ed, and yeah, met you guys, and it just seemed the opportunity with Blam far exceeded everyone else on the marketplace, certainly everyone else that I could find on the marketplace. So, but the key thing of going, coming back to your question, the key thing of why I chose the business model that we're all in, as opposed to say travel or or another franchise, was that passive revenue. That was the one thing that I highlighted that was going to be key for me. So yeah.
Monthly recurring revenue, MRR. We absolutely, we abide by that, don't we? Because that's the thing that that gives you the target to aim for, so that you can really have that lifestyle business. And that's because my view is if you buy a business or you're running a business, if you have to keep making sales in order to keep that business going, you've got a job. You haven't got your own business, and it's not until you can get people in to do the sales for you that it starts to become something that is more of a proper business. But of course, with a model where we effectively call it a SaaS model, software as a service, effectively, that's the analogy for Blam. You can still do it on your own and still achieve that passive revenue, which is what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, and probably should have mentioned that. So the software I always sold was software as a service. So that's why I recognise the importance of that, because when you got a job, if you have an accident, you break your leg or you get the flu, and you can lay on the sofa, knowing you're going to get a paycheck at the end of the month. You might not get as much commission, but your mortgage and your bills going to be paid by someone else. Obviously, you don't have that luxury when you work for yourself. But with Blam, you do. It's a win-win, right?
Yeah.
It's an absolute win-win, and it's just a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned. I don't know why you would do anything else. Yeah. So yeah.
Awesome. So the bit that I really wanted to explore with you, because I know we've talked about it before, is that so you've made the decision. You've luckily you avoided the tourism franchise, and little did you know at that stage what a close call that was. But
yeah.
So how many days was it from when you actually signed up with us till we went into lockdown? Because it was pretty close, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. So there's probably two parts to that question. So I think I signed up right at the end of February, but then getting everything in line, the website up and running and what have you. And I did nothing, whilst that was going, and I actually pushed the button and went live and did my big announcement on the 19th of March. And obviously that was a Thursday, and then on the Sunday, the 23rd, we locked down, and that was. that was a tough day, I have to say.
What was going through your mind back at that point?
I'll tell you, I'll tell you exactly. I spent a week crying into my beer, just wondering what on earth I'd done, and I just thought, you know what, the whole world's against me. This I've just made the worst decision of my life and wasted a load of money. And then after a week, I thought, you know what, I'm just, suck it up. You're going to have to go and get another job. And that took me about 5 minutes to realise that no one was recruiting anyone anymore. And so probably 2 to 3 weeks down the line, in reality, I just thought, my back is against the wall here. You've got nothing else to do. You've got no other options. Just crack on with it. So after being in on all the Facebook lives and the going through all the training, I started hitting the phones, and and I was really surprised about how how receptive people were that I was speaking to, you know, even at that early stage. And it's like, oh, okay, maybe there is something here. And then I got my first deal mid-May. So yeah, so and then all of a sudden it was just like, and actually maybe this will work. And I still wasn't convinced at that point, but then deals started trickling in, pipeline started building up. I think in June, I did 2 deals. July, another 2 or 3 deals. And at that point, I was like, right, okay, let's turbocharge this. Let's smash it. And I fully committed at that point. I think probably June, I firmly committed. But yeah, I have to say, sort of, yeah, 24th of March, I wasn't in a good place.
And it's interesting that to hear that journey, because you know, I remember at the same time that you would have been sort of getting ready to set up, I was seeing the writing on the wall for what was going on, and I was in absolute crazy mode, getting everything set up for how to work it during lockdown, how the team would operate, you know, how we would be able to keep things moving, and also I was absolutely convinced that it was a massive opportunity, and that we because so many people, when you hit these, I mean, a lockdown is extremely, you know, unusual circumstances, but it's a bit like having a recession it compressed into a short space of time. And I knew from the past that a recession is an opportunity, because the competition hunker down, people, you know, sort of go into their shell because they let fear rule them. And the opportunity is there for the people that are willing to go out there. And it sounds like you went through that realization over a period of like 2 months to come to the point, oh, actually.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I remember coming on, I suppose it would have been that first week. I think you know, a day or so after that lockdown, you did a Facebook Live, and you know, and you said exactly that. You said, I've been through this before. This is a massive opportunity, and these are the reasons why. And I sat there, and I tried to convince myself that you were right, but I didn't believe it at that point. And but yeah, you know, fortunately, I was very wrong. You know, and I've seen, you know, the first few months I've seen some steady growth, and now it's starting to sort of ramp up even further. So yeah, it's, you know, the second lockdown 2.0, as they call it, which we just come out of. You know, again, we went into that, and you know, I have to say, it was like it knocked me again, even though, you know, I was expecting it, and even though I wasn't quite as scared of it as previously. You know, I came into it and I thought, oh no, not again. This is just going to put me back. Things is just starting to go well. They're just starting to ramp up, and now this is going to knock me back again. But you know, November I had my best ever month, and not by a small margin. I doubled my previous best month. So. Yeah, yeah.
I tell you what, mate, we love a lockdown at Blam. We love a lockdown.
yeah. Bring it on.
November was close to our best month overall. You know,
okay.
So many partners smashed it in November. It was just, you know, we're absolutely snowed under right now with work. It's awesome. It's such a nice problem to have. We're bulging at the seams. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And that's because Black Friday deal, because we did the, you know, the whole let's get this, you know, let's make it happen during lockdown, and it works, you know. And you know, I'm saying that with some sensitivity, because I realise, you know, there's some businesses, leisure industry, pubs, restaurant, these guys feel desperately sorry for them. It's just awful. But you know, we're luckily that we're in an industry that is not suffering at all.
Yeah, and I suppose that raises 2 points for me. One is that, you know, the support that Blam gives, you know, without, you know, yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, without, putting any spin on it, has been absolutely amazing in terms of the deals that you provide, the training you provide, just the general support. I'll come to you on a regular basis and go, do you know what? Can we smash this square peg into this round hole? And we'll talk through it. And I won't always get the answer I want, but we'll always, it will just be, you're always there at the end of the phone, right? And that's, I don't know I would get that level of support anywhere else. Especially, and I've come from I've never had any dealings with web design, web development, mobile apps, any of that before. So I've gone from knowing zero to where I am today, which is probably a little bit above zero.
Don't let your clients see this.
yeah. Let's keep this under wraps. And but secondly, in terms of the industry, the pub and the leisure industry, that's where I focused on. And that's my busiest sector. And I think there's two schools of thought. There's the people that hunker down and go, we'll take our head out of sand when it's all over. And then there's those other people that pivot, diversify, and go, you know what, we're going to go for this. And I last month, it was my best ever month, and probably I got 3 or 4 deals in that sector, all pubs, restaurants, cafes. So yeah, it is they are going through a tough time, but there's still people making money, and there's still people willing to spend money. So it's it's
the economy hasn't drawn to a halt. And I think one of the things that always inspires me about this business and this network is that it doesn't matter who it is that we're dealing with, whether I'm dealing with you directly or whether we're talking about your clients. We're all business people. We're all entrepreneurs, and true entrepreneurs, they'll find a way. They'll find a way of making it happen, and we'll do whatever we can to help them make it happen. And that is what gets me out of bed in the morning, is that I love that, let's do this kind of attitude. And you get that from your customers. We get it from our partners, and hopefully they get it back from us as well. Because being in business, you are a different breed. You've not got that employee mentality, that job's worth mentality. You've got a can-do attitude, haven't you? And that's the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sort of regularly working at 6 o'clock in the morning and 10 o'clock at night. And but I get to, and you get tired, right? You get tired, but I don't actually get washed out like I used to when I was traveling a lot or working late on a tender or an RFP at work. Where you're just absolutely just completely washed out. You're so energized because it's your own business, right? And it's, don't mind working at 5 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock at night, because you know what, it's for you, right? It's for no one else. It's completely for you, and it's just, it's really exhilarating, to be honest. Yeah. So
that's really cool.
I mean, don't get me wrong. At the moment, I probably earn half of what I used to, probably less, work twice as hard, but I'm 4 times as happy, right? And I know that the curve that I'm on, the journey that I'm on, that I can see that revenue increasing every month, and you can just see where it's going, and it's that's the other great thing about that passive revenue, that monthly recurring revenue. You plug all the figures into a graph, and you can just see it going to the top right, and it's just such a lovely lovely feeling, because challenge now, it's sorting itself out.
And that's something that that's the bit that really inspires me about partners. You obviously were a high earner before. You had a really good job, and your goal right now is to get to that point where you earn as a passive income what you had to earn as a salary for your previous employer. And from what you've said, I think you say you've probably been working proactively on your business for about 5 months, would you say?
Yeah, I would say so. Since probably May, I reckon. May, I was sort of active. mid-May, I sort of like, right, just, yeah.
So with that in mind, when do you predict you'll hit your number, the point at which you reach the earnings that you would have earned having to get up every day and make somebody else's dreams come true instead of your own?
Buy someone else's yacht, right?
That's it.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So I think there's kind of two parts to that question, or two answers to that question. That first one is, when will I get to a point where, because it's still quite tough at the moment, still early days. I'm not quite paying. I'm still subsidising a few things with savings and and what have you. I think that I'm about 2 months away from getting to the point where I can pay all my bills. I can just sit back and I know all my bills are going to be paid. I'm going to be able to feed the kids and so on and so forth. So that's probably about a month or two away from that. In terms of, getting to the salary level I was at in when I was earning, and I was earning well in six figures. I reckon if my forecast go as planned, and I no, let me change that. If I only replicate what I've done in the last 5 months, every other 5 months, that'll take me 2 years to do that. But I would hope the market will get easier because we'll come out of this whole lockdown and tier restrictions, and the economy will start bouncing back. And B, hopefully I'm going to get better at what I do. So I say a couple of years, maybe a little bit less than that. But like I say, if I do nothing other than replicate what I've done in the last 5 months, it'll be a couple of years before I get to that point.
So, for example, if you were to look at what you did in November and say that starts to become the norm, you should get there a lot quicker.
Oh yeah, if I replicate November every month going forward, I'll get there in 6 months.
Yeah, and that's the goal, isn't it? If we can do, and that's where consistency comes in. And you and I will be talking about this. We won't do it in the interview now, but there's when you're a Blam partner, you go through these different stages, and you've just hit. And one of the reasons I wanted to have this chat with you today is you've just hit that stage where you've kind of nailed it now. You know what you're doing, and you're on the right path. The trick now is to be consistent with it and to make sure that you can replicate it consistently. Because what can happen is you start getting into a role and you start getting your 5, 6, 7 customers a month, but you've obviously got to service those customers. You've got to make sure that you look after them, and you've got to make sure that it doesn't stop you from getting the same amount of customers the next month. Yeah. And that's where and bearing in mind in the early stages of when you're working on your business, we do tend to be a little bit more hands-on with our customers because we're learning the ropes. We're finding out, what they need and what they don't need. When you start to get a little bit more experienced, you can let us do more of that account management stuff. You can afford to be a little bit more prescriptive and be able to help them understand how they can use us for account management and support and amendments and so on, leaving you more time to keep growing. And you can do it in a way that doesn't make them feel like that you're neglecting them. You can actually allow them to show them that actually it's quite an efficient way of them to be able to get their marketing done.
Yeah. And I think you're right, and I think that's my next challenge, right? Is making sure I cement these customers in, and reduce. There's always going to be a level of attrition, right? That's just life, right? Of a customer attrition, is reducing that to the bare minimum, building on top of that foundation. And but I suppose what gives me a lot of confidence in that is the support I've had from not just yourself and Ed, but also from other members of the team, Kobe, Aldrone, and everyone else. It's like I say, I've come from absolutely knowing nothing, and being, you know, quite high maintenance, to now, you know, all joking aside, I think I'm sort of fairly competent in doing a lot of the amendments and design elements to the websites and the apps myself, and I've made a real effort to do that, because it's part of it helps with my sales, you know, having that knowledge. But now it's to relinquish a little bit of control, I suppose, and hand it over to you guys. And, you know, that doesn't worry me like it would have done, you know, 6 months ago, because, you know, my experience over these last few months has been, you know, overwhelmingly positive. Yeah, overwhelmingly. In fact, I can't think of one instance where, you know, I've been really hacked off. You know, not everything's gone to plan, right? And there's been some challenges along the way, but nothing major at all. So
That's brilliant to hear, mate. Really appreciate you saying that. You know, we do work hard for our partners, and it's good to hear that, mate, because it's but we're not perfect. We're always trying to improve, and I think, you know, we can always keep doing that. And but listen, Jon, it's been awesome catching up with you, mate, and I really appreciate you spending the time. And if it's okay with you, I can share this video with partners, and with partners that are at the beginning of their journey, can you know, can take strength from this kind of thing, because it helps them see where they're going to be in 6 months' time, or give them an understanding of it. And it's great as well that you've said about, you know, not really having any understanding of marketing or websites or anything, you know, the technical side of it, because as you've proved, you don't need to with this. You know, that's kind of what we take care of.
yeah, no, absolutely no problem you sharing it. And you know, I suppose my sort of last sort of point would be that, you know, there is just such a massive opportunity, right? And you know, you don't have to work 100 hours a week to achieve it. You know, not by a long chalk. You know, you have to work hard, right? But you're not killing yourself. You know, I can speak to, you know, as long as you're consistent, as you say, and you consistently make calls or doing those lead gen activities, you know, deals they will come to you. You know, I regularly speak to some, you know, most of my deals close within a few days, a week or two at most. So,
yeah, and that took you a while to get your head around, didn't it? Because your previous job was like months, wasn't it?
yeah. You know, if someone closed in 3 or 6 months previously, I'd think, wow, that was quick. You know, now, you know, for example, I spoke to a customer a couple of weeks back. Initial call, she's a couple hundred miles away from me, so, you know, we weren't meeting and having a chat, and actually this happened twice last month, and it's like, right, okay, well, let's push the button, and it's like, fantastic, bang, and it's there, and an hour and a half for each one of those. You know,
Wow.
that was my complete interaction with them, was an hour and a half. And yeah, so yeah, you know, and October was was probably one of my slowest months, and but, you know, literally things turned around on a sixpence. So
Yeah.
just
I
got to
always
keep the
say
faith.
that you've just got to keep the faith. I say that, you know, you never know. You can have a couple of weeks of drought or 3 weeks of drought, and then all of a sudden the pressure, if you kept doing the work, the pressure of doing that, the deals just come in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really good. That keeps you going through those lulls, right?
That's
So
right.
no, it can turn around. But yeah, no,
Brilliant.
absolutely. Yeah, feel free to share. Yeah, it's been
Thanks,
good. It's
Jon.
been a fantastic journey.
Appreciate that, mate. And thank you for your time. And yeah, catch up again soon. Thanks, buddy.
Whereas, cheers.